And welcome back into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller.
And my name's Brett Parnell.
And let's dive in. Do you want to tell the folks about our episode today?
So, first of all, credit to my dad, Steve. He came up with this topic for some off-season content, which was a great suggestion. Also, to our listeners, if any of you have suggestions you want to hear us talk about in the off-season, by all means, let us know. Send us a message on Instagram, Facebook, email, and we would love to do whatever it is that you would like to bring up, obviously Survivor related. But today we are talking about our 10 favorite rewards in the history of Survivor. So, keeping with the auctions theme, I've got my glass of wine already. Nothing better than seeing one of these under the hidden compartment that Jeff pulls out and not water from the river in the Australian outback. And let's get going.
Nice. Yeah. So, you want to start us off?
Sure, why not? It wouldn't be Tribal Council chat without a reference to what season, Bruce?
All Stars.
You got it. So number 10 on my list is a reward from Survivor All Stars. It is the day that Shapira got to kidnap Kathy Vavrick O'Brien and go out on the yacht, um, just cruising around the Pearl Islands in a $200 million yacht. All you can eat, all you can drink. Don't tell Big Tom that anymore because it's not the first time that Tom's going to end up on my list today when in words that Tom cannot remember. And then we also have, like I said, it's not the first time, it's not the last time. And then also, just when they stopped and went to that waterfall, I'm like, I need to find this waterfall and kayak there sometime.
Nice.
What an amazing reward that would have been.
My number 10 is pretty simple, and it's on here not because it's just super cool, but because of my own personal preferences. There's a lot of sodas out there. But as you and probably our audience know, there is one soda that I drink way more than anything else on the planet. And in Australian Outback at the auction, someone won a glass of Mountain Dew. So I'm going to
That's
say
right.
that.
Nice. Yeah, good call. It was funny because Kevin realized that right away. It took me quite a while to realize that you were having the Mountain Dew can in about 90% of our episodes.
Well, yeah, that and like specifically holding the label up in case PepsiCo is watching and wants to make me an influencer and send me free stuff.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Hasn't caught on yet, but maybe it will someday.
But yeah, that was a great reward. Auctions are always memorable moments of Survivor. I really wish they would bring back one where they're actually able to bid and there wasn't a lose your vote component to it.
Yeah. All right. What's your number
But
9?
so many memorable auction moments
Yeah.
in there's got to be at least one or two in every single auction.
Oh, for sure. And if you haven't listened to our History of the Auction series, it was 2 episodes. Go back and check that out.
Yeah.
I think we did 2 episodes because we were still on free Zoom at the time. So it's pretty old at this point, but
Yeah. We've now been doing this for over 2 years.
that's crazy.
I know. All right, you want my number 9? It's a
Yeah.
reward that very famously features one of your favorite players of all time.
Yeah.
It also features the retirement residence of one of the most famous British authors of all time, Robert Louis Stevenson,
Oh,
who wrote
nice.
Treasure Island. And that was getting to go to Robert Louis Stevenson's home, apparently watch the movie, and Amanda and Danielle getting into a physical altercation over a clue.
They got into a cat fight.
Yeah.
That's a great
Which
one.
was just hilarious.
Great memory. Little over the idol, just wild scene. But that's a really good one for sure.
Meanwhile, Colby is just watching the movie, eating popcorn, and wanting nothing to do with the two girls' drama,
He
which
had
makes it
two
even
shows
funnier.
he could have been watching. He had a movie or a live fight.
Yeah.
He said either way. My 9, I'm going to go with. I had a bunch of names written down, but I'm going to go with one just that comes to my mind that I didn't have pre-planned from the season we talked about last week. Token Chains. They went to the governor's retreat,
That's right.
which is really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool, especially being out in such a remote environment in Brazil and just getting that luxury in the middle of the. Do you remember? I remember the reward now in my mind. Do you remember who won this?
No, not off the top of my head. Probably JT though.
Let me check.
Bum 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 ba da dum. Bum bum ba da da do 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 do.
It was. That just.
Do you have it?
You know.
Bum 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 ba da dum bum 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 ba da 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 da. Dun 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 dun.
It doesn't say. It just says they did it. I'll look it up after. But hey, yeah, that's an amazing one.
And we
Oh,
got.
here. It was in the Moto Approach episode.
Of course it was.
Yeah, it was JT. You're right.
Yay! I was totally guessing on that too. Okay, what's your next one?
And it was the same challenge that notably sends Coach on his journey with the stick and no food and no water, climbing up Exile Island, Exile Sand Dune.
Yeah. Oh
My next one is going to Survivor Africa. Africa was a great season for the awards.
I have an Africa one, and I'm curious if you're about to say the same one that I'm saying later.
This one that I am going to give is goat trading.
Okay, so yeah, I had anytime they visit locals, like Africa, for example, was exactly what I wrote down.
I love this. Like you say, anytime they visit locals is amazing. I picked this one, notably the goat trading episode, because watching Ethan as a professional football goalkeeper in the United Soccer Leagues, and then playing hacky sack with the kids in Kenya was just amazing.
I forget he was a professional soccer player, to be honest.
Yep.
But yeah, that was really cool. I'll go with that for my answer here since we're already talking about it. I love anytime they visit locals. They did it in Africa. They did it in one of Malcolm's seasons, I feel like.
They did it in Micronesia, where Eric has one of the most hilarious lines.
Oh yeah. What is it that he says? I remember it.
That the local tribal women were topless, and that was a big shock to him.
Well, I don't blame him, but if you're not expecting it. But I love anytime they visit locals. There's one time they visited like an orphanage or a school or something.
Yeah, that's in Africa as well.
No, I meant like another one.
Oh, okay, they've done it a few times. San Juan del Sur.
But I love visiting locals as a reward.
And then speaking of the goat trading episode again, that I love too, when after Ethan and Lex get the money for their goats and the first thing they do is go out to lunch. It's just hilarious when they tell them they have 3 items on the menu in Wamba in the middle of Kenya. And the first one is the same flower that they've been eating at camp every day. So that's a no. And the second one was an unnamed meat that no one knew what it was. So that was a no if you didn't want to get sick. And then it's like, okay, what's option three? French fries.
Well, maybe get sick, maybe not. It's kind of like roulette a little bit there.
Yeah, it sure is. And then also just after the game, but the fact that I know Ethan, through his charitable endeavors, has done a lot for this specific community is just amazing to see.
That is really cool. I think I had forgotten that. Okay, so what do you have next? Because we kind of both went there.
All right, not a problem. I will pull up my list. Next, I have a reward that was shared between Burton and Johnny Fairplay in Survivor Pearl Islands. And that was the trip to Panama City to spend the night in the ancient ruins of ransacked of old Panama that were ransacked by Henry Morgan, the pirate who is the namesake of the Morgan tribe, back in the age of Pirates of the Caribbean. It really fit the theme. You got to see the history of Panama. They traveled through the Panama Canal. And then also, this ties us into another historic Survivor moment because it's a car award.
Yes.
And one thing that we know of is that until GM stopped sponsoring Survivor in Exile Island, that was the last season, no one who ever won the Curry Award won the game.
They should have brought it.
You know what?
Ghost Island. They brought. Die saying that.
Yes, you're 100% correct. I know the audience is going to comment, so I have to quickly interrupt. They didn't do it for Cook Islands, and then they brought it back for Fiji. Obviously, the Yao Man Dreams incident is legendary, infamous, however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're 100% right. If they just had a physical car sitting on Ghost Island, that would have been amazing.
Or just like brought the car reward back, like as a reward. See if they can break that curse. The whole season was about breaking curses.
But wouldn't it have been neat if it was just like you hit the Exile Island mallet and it's like follow the trail and there's just a car there?
It's
because the whole thing about Ghost Island was trying to overcome the past mistakes of Survivor.
You get to Ghost Island, and instead of a shelter, you're just sleeping in the truck that Dreams had years ago. Dreams had to belong to the show to be a shelter for this season. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
And speaking of the car awards, I'll just put it in here because we haven't talked about it. There's a great one in Australia where, notably, because he's able to sleep in the back of his truck, Colby doesn't have to deal with the flood that we talked to Tina about.
Yeah.
That might be one of the best hidden benefits to a reward of all time.
I think one of my favorite car reward episodes is the All-Stars one that also comes with like a movie night that happened to be a date night also.
Yeah, and then both of them get one. Rob and Amber.
Yeah, what a surprise that was.
Yeah.
So, next up, I am going to Micronesia. Let's go here and say the Jellyfish Lake.
Nice. Tell us about it.
They got to swim with a bunch of jellyfish and not get stung. That was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jellyfish Lake in Palau is a unique species of jellyfish that doesn't sting, that isn't found anywhere else in the world, I think.
Huh. That's cool.
And keep in mind when I say Palau, like, yes, season 10 was called Palau, season 16 was called Micronesia. If anyone in the audience doesn't know, they're the same place. Palau is a region within the country of Micronesia.
I learned
I think that's how it works.
Just now.
Oh, cool.
You know more about like geography in the world than me, but
I mean, if the audience didn't know, I do work in that field, so
Exactly.
it's only fair.
No, the
Uh,
jellyfish were really cool though.
yeah, that would have been really cool. I have seen some jellyfish while scuba diving. I have got stung by them, so it would be nice to swim with some that you didn't don't sting you. But
Well,
the ones in Mexico that can sting you, it's like they're not the black box jellyfish that you see in National Geographic. They're jellyfish that are this tiny and feel like you got bit by a mosquito.
oh,
But
I
it's still
think
not
I like
pleasant.
the big ones that you see at aquariums.
No, not those. You have to be careful of those because you can end up in the hospital if they sting you.
Not if you pee on it.
Um, yeah, maybe.
Oh, you mean TV lied to me?
I mean,
What?
John and Kathy tried that
Yeah,
in most cases.
I think it like lessens the pain or something. I don't
I
remember.
think so. It's just because of the salt content.
What do you got next?
A reward that's happened time and time and time again throughout the whole franchise, but I'm specifically talking about Winners at War here, and that's the loved ones visit.
Yeah, I
It
also
had,
had Love from Home as one of mine. I was lumping loved ones visits and letters in together. I love this every time. It's so cool.
yeah, absolutely. You're right. Letters count, videos count. Obviously, we have some very famous moments with all three of them. No, they have to do a like flashback to this in 50 with Jenna Lewis because
Maybe
that has to be
we'll
one.
get the letters in time this time.
Maybe maybe Jeff will be like, "Hey, we're gonna do videos from home again," and Jenna, we have iPhones this time. Your family can send it here in 5 seconds.
Also,
Because
if
the
we're
last
talking
time
about
she
Love
played, we
from
were
Home.
on VHS tapes.
We're talking about Love from Home, Australian Outback. When we IM'd with from home was really cool
Yeah, that was cool.
because they had a Mac computer out there in the middle of the outback. How they had internet service for that, I have no idea.
Well,
But
they had a big satellite dish right behind it.
still,
It I don't know how the internet worked, you're right, but it worked well enough that Keith got engaged.
yeah. Oh, I forgot about that part. That's really cool.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. But like I said, Winners at War was the one that I was specifically thinking of. There were so many great moments in that loved one's visit. Like every single person, be them on the edge or be them in the game, had a great moment with the loved one's visit. But I specifically would be missed if I didn't talk about Michelle in this podcast at this section. Probably my favorite loved one's visit of all time. When at that point, if you go through the cast top to bottom of Winners at War, of all the players that are still in the game, I think they had 10 loved ones out there, if I'm not mistaken. And 9 of them are either people who are married with children or in a relationship without children. And then Michelle and Kim come out together. And that was just such an amazing moment to have Jeff talking to Michelle about her relationship with her sister. And you get that line that she says, all of these people have their soulmate, and this woman is my soulmate.
Yeah,
I was crying.
very cool.
One of my favorite moments of Survivor ever.
Very, very cool.
All right, what do you got next?
We talked a little bit about um Australian Outback just now and with the Mountain Dew. I'm going back there one final time and saying Great Barrier Reef.
Okay, I got this on my list too, so take it away.
So, because Colby won all the challenges after a certain point on the season, he gets to go visit the Great Barrier Reef, and it's very cool. And I'm pretty sure he broke the law because he broke off a bunch of pieces of coral and brought them back to people.
He absolutely did break the law.
But which I'm curious to know how that went over with CBS afterwards.
He got fined
Yeah,
by the Australian government.
he did or CBS did.
Both.
Well, I bet the network was very not happy watching
I
this,
would imagine.
but this
But
was
yeah,
pretty
this
cool.
this was a great reward. I mean, the great television side of this reward starts even before the challenge when they all say we should draw straws and Joey says I think we should just choose our partners, and then which proceeds to Tina saying who would you pick, and she says I'd take Colby, and it's like, well, obviously. That was amazing to see. Colby and Joey had a interesting relationship that season that one day seemed to be an alliance and other days they were totally off. And so the two of them getting this reward together that was at that point huge was amazing. And then the Great Barrier Reef. I mean, it's one of the few places in the world, like one of the few best natural places in the world.
Just don't take the coral.
No, don't take the coil. That's
Um,
one of the first things that I've learned in my open water scuba course, even in the Discover Scuba course, which is like for unlicensed people that just want to go diving for the day under the direct supervision of an instructor. The first thing they tell you is not only don't take the coil, don't touch the coil, don't kick the coil, don't let your equipment touch the coil, just leave it alone.
and definitely don't do it on camera.
In front of 100 million people.
Yeah, not smart.
No. Colby, don't do that in 50. Fiji will not be happy, and we all know how much Survivor and Fiji are interlocked together.
Yes, but if he does, maybe they'll be forced to give us a new location.
I honestly don't care that much.
I honestly don't either, but that's something I've seen a lot of people complain about, and I'm realizing if
Yeah.
those people really want that, maybe root for Colby to take the coral again. Give him a chance. But we don't get rewards outside of the sanctuary where good things happen anymore. So
That is true. I mean, you could technically leave some snorkeling equipment in the sanctuary and they could go off the reef.
yeah. Plot twist. The sanctuary where good things happen. Not on my list.
And I'm sure everyone saw that one coming.
It's just going and eating different types of food every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's overnight and that's cool, but
There's been a lot more interesting overnight rewards before the new era.
yeah.
All right, so my five. First of all, product placement. My number five is a Snickers bar. But then they make it way more interesting, especially as what I was just talking about, one of my passions in life. And that's that this is a reward from Survivor Marquesas that involves getting the Snickers bar as a re-energizing to re-energize yourself in between scuba diving in the South Pacific.
Nice.
And one, we don't see the reward that much. We see this challenge because, especially amongst the new era players, I know, like, making memes about, hey, look at all of what we're doing on like journeys and shit. Back then they were just flying kites. Is kind of a laughing thing from this challenge. But then Kathy wins it by flying kites that she made herself on the beach. And at that point, not only I thought it was so neat to see that it was just like it was perfect for Kathy to win this as a reward. Shout out to our friend Steven from Survivor Quotes, probably the biggest Kathy fan on the internet that I can find.
Yes.
Because Kathy is already a advanced licensed diver like I am, and therefore she can really go and enjoy this reward. She doesn't need to have the instructors just basically babying her through the reward the whole time.
Yeah.
So that worked out perfect.
For sure. Great reward.
All right, what do you got next?
I have one that comes from Vanuatu and Redemption Island, and that is touring a volcano.
Cool.
Volcanoes are cool. This was cool. Throwing something into a volcano was also cool.
Yes, that was hilarious with Rob. Both volcano awards, Vanuatu and Redemption Island, give us some really funny television. Whether it be Rob throwing an immunity idol clue into a volcano, or Yasu bringing back chicken wings and only sharing them amongst the women.
Yeah, but Vanuatu is super underrated, by the way. Chris Darty, one of the most underrated winners, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
absolutely. Definitely an underrated season. That's another. That's a country I would love to be able to go to sometime.
Every country is a country you want to go to sometime.
I mean, maybe not Iran or Afghanistan right now, but
Well, yes, not active war zones
yeah,
or Russia.
I've already been there. I don't need to go back.
I have no desire to go there, but there's stuff there that
Yeah,
looks cool that looks like it would be fun to
it
see.
was cool back before 2014.
Yeah. So what do you have next?
Next, I have a award from a season that we spoke to the winner of, and that's the Great Wall of China.
I also have a different reward from this season.
Oh, excellent. So, Survivor China, players get taken to the Great Wall. And what I loved about this is that they do it by private jet and they don't go to the Great Wall at Badaling, which is like the tourist mecca near Beijing where it's all theme parks. They're just out in the part of the Great Wall where you're like, nobody's seen this since Genghis Khan.
Yes.
It was so cool to be able to see the players just like really to take in that experience and be just in remote Great Wall of China where there's no access unless you have private transportation by air.
Yes.
It's not like they just said you're going to go to Beijing and be with 75,000 Chinese school groups.
And so my China one is the Shaolin Temple one,
Nice.
where it's an overnighter and they get to watch Shaolin warriors do
Yeah.
their martial arts
In
demonstration
the
live.
in the place of that I believe Kung Fu originally comes from.
Yeah, was it Kung Fu or karate? I don't remember.
Karate is Japanese.
Okay.
Kung Fu is a Chinese martial art.
I didn't know much of that. So I watch
I took-
Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, but they don't talk about origins much. So
Fair enough. I took
take that
about
back, Mr. Miyagi from Okinawa. So I should have remembered that.
fair enough. I took about 6 weeks of karate when I was younger and learned that then.
Nice. So yeah, and Denise, who was practicing martial arts at the time, got to
Right.
show off what she knew also.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah, so what number are we up to now for you?
We have 2 left, I believe, on each list.
Nice.
Number 2 is a reward that I think I will be able to visit later this year. And that's
that.
Angkor Wat, Survivor Cambodia.
I had Cambodian Temple.
There you go. So we have the same one.
Yeah, you knew what it was called.
It's my plan to go to this location in December. I'm going to be in Southeast Asia for 2 weeks at the time. Expect a very special episode of Tribal Council Chat that week. Yes, if we can make the time work, I will come live from Asia while you're in the States, and it'll be like your evening and my morning at the same time. But no, Cambodian temples was so cool. There's so much history there. It's originally a Hindu temple, is Angkor Wat, before Buddhism was founded. They film movies in the area like Tomb Raider. It's one of the seven wonders of the modern, well, not modern world, but some seven wonders list has Angkor Wat featured on it.
By the way, there's too many seven wonders of the world.
There's way too many of them.
There's
I can never keep it track.
If you combine all of them, there's like 50 wonders of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
There's too many of those lists. So, because they said the Great Barrier Reef was one of the seven wonders. Like,
it's the Great Barrier Reef is in the seven natural wonders of the world.
I just want one list. Pick seven of them. They're the seven wonders.
There is an official seven. I can tell you what they are.
What?
There is an official seven that's just D7. I can tell you what they are.
Oh, cool. I didn't realize that.
The Colosseum in Rome, the Great Pyramids in Egypt, Petra in Jordan, which your mom has visited.
Yeah.
Taj Mahal in India, the Great Wall of China, which I spoke about today, Chichen Itza in Mexico, which I visited, and Christ the Redeemer in Brazil.
Nice. I didn't realize there was like an actual list. I just
That's
was
the
like so
main seven list. There's just been so many that like magazines and stuff have came out with after those seven.
It's too much.
I have now been to two of them. Chichen Itza in Mexico and the Colosseum in Rome.
Nice. Okay, so what is your last one?
Last one. Well, I told you that we were going to have a Africa award featuring Tom, and that's the Great Migration. Getting to take a hot air balloon ride over the African savannah with hundreds of thousands of wildlife moving locations below you around Kenya. It's one of the most amazing things to see in the world anywhere, and they got to do it by hot air balloon while playing Survivor and having a night of luxury the night before. Also hilarious because they get to use Jeff's credit card to pay for everything, where it actually has the name Jeff Probst engraved in the visa. Also hilarious because Lex is like, we're going to the Great Migration, and plans, as you do when you're on a safari, to like wake up at 2:30 in the morning. Meanwhile, Big Tom drank a whole bottle of Jack Daniels before going up in the hot air balloon. Yeah. And he was sick. Like I said, it's kind of a running theme. Tom doesn't probably remember his rewards today.
Yeah.
But Tom's one of my favorite characters of old school Survivor.
Oh, for sure. My last one is the one that we've talked about before with a guest, and if I remember right, that conversation about this reward is what gave your dad the idea for us to do this episode, and I'm going with the swimming pool in Guatemala.
Cool. Nice.
Because they couldn't get in the water because of alligators or crocodiles or some chompy creature, and so they put a pool in that the alligators or chompy creatures cannot get into. So,
yeah, that is a great reward. I love this one. The fact that they had Danny's birthday party with inviting the other tribe over was just funny, because you have Danny's birthday party, and then 2 seasons later you have Cowboy getting completely lost. And I think now productions changed the rules to be like tribes can only go so far away from their camp because of these 2 incidents.
Because of Cowboy?
Yeah. No, great reward. Fun story, because I went biking last weekend past it. Maybe I'll go there tomorrow. They actually installed one of these pools in the Ottawa River on a bike trail so that people can like go cool off while they're riding bikes. So
Nice.
they have one of these floating Survivor Guatemala style pools. I don't know how else to say it. Right in my own city. That's for public use.
Nice. You'll have to go check that out sometime.
Yeah, I definitely do. Well, that was a good episode.
It was.
Should we get into an aligned blindside first boot?
Sure, you go first.
All right. I'm going to give you the names of 3 players that came up in my rewards discussion. It would not be obviously with him appearing twice in an inebriated state, an aligned blindside first boot without putting Tom Buchanan on my list. I think it's the first time I've ever used him for this game.
That's shocking.
Yeah, I know. I am gonna give a from Survivor Pearl Islands, Johnny Fairplay, and from Survivor Winners at War, Michelle Fitzgerald. So Big Tom, Fairplay, Michelle. Go.
Michelle's probably my favorite of these 3, but I don't know if I can beat her at the end. And she's the only one here that I question that with. So I'm going to first boot her, which means I have to go to the end with Tom because if you blindside Tom, he's a super bitter juror about it.
That's a good point.
So can't have that. So I have to blindside Fairplay and align with Tom.
That is a great point because I was about to say that you blindside Tom, but no, you can't because he's a super bitter juror. So that means I've got to first boot Tom.
Yeah, you can't blindside him. He's a sore
I know.
loser about it.
In contrast, Johnny Fairplay voted for Sandra. So he's not a bitter juror at all.
No.
So I'm going to first boot Tom.
To be fair, the other option was Lil. So if there had been a good other option, who knows? But
I mean, Tawana voted for the other option, so
I still want to know the explanation.
I would love to know that explanation. So that makes me, I'm gonna first boot Tom. I'm gonna blindside Fairplay, and I'm gonna align with Michelle.
Nice.
Who are your 3?
I am going to go with from the Shaolin Temple, Denise Martin. From the Great Barrier Reef, Colby and his coral pieces. They come as a package deal. And from the swimming pool in Guatemala, I will say Steph.
Nice. I'm going to align with Colby here. Colby is a very strong player who can help you out pre-game, pre-merge in challenges. And we've also seen that he'll take his number 1 ally to the end, even if he isn't confident that he'll beat them. So I'm aligning with Colby. I'm going to blindside Stephanie. I think she's probably the best gamer in this group who would take it well and vote honestly based on her experiences in the game and her opinions. And that leads me to first boot Denise, who we've seen her get up to some shady antics, notably at the reunion show, and therefore I don't know what I can and cannot trust.
That is true.
What are your choices here?
Yeah, Denise is too much of a wild card for me also, I will say. So I'm going to first boot her.
Okay.
Stephanie is such a better player than Colby. Blindsiding her is the right choice.
Yeah.
But I would rather, like, I think I'd rather play with her, but I'm going to be smart and align with Colby and blindside Steph.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good idea.
thank you.
Um, that was a great episode. We will be back next week, and I guess my dates were kind of off, so don't expect Survivor Australia right away. But whenever it starts, we'll be back here doing Australia versus the world as well. I heard it was going to start this week, and it obviously didn't. So
Yeah.
who knows? Whenever that season happens, we're not going to miss talking about a season that's featuring Parvati, Parvati, Suri, Tony, as well as some Australian legends like Shawnee, George, and David, who many of you know from Deal or No Deal Island now, plus maybe some new players to get into that we haven't necessarily seen before.
Yep, for sure. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that either. And then, I mean, we're getting into the holiday weekend. We have Canada Day and Independence Day coming up this weekend for next week. And then we'll, at that point, we're basically 2 months away from 49.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, keep looking out for our content and all Reality Realm content. And grab your torches and head back to camp. Bye, everyone.
Good night.